And I'm not quite sure. I think living a happier life while you're awake impacts how you sleep. And so, like, obviously that's a huge blanket statement. Like, oh, just live a happier life and you'll dream
I'm
better.
cured.
Yay.
Thanks, Doc. I'm cured.
But I think I'll prerequisite this whole thing with think long term. Don't think tomorrow. Don't think next week. Don't think, maybe think next month. But think like, okay, 3 months from now, I should see step 1 of this 10-step thing that I'm going through. I'll see step 1, which is like, okay, I made it up the first rung on the ladder. Like, I feel a little bit better. They're not happening as much. So longer term thinking tends to be more logical, and it helps for me because I'm not so like, oh, what am I going to do right now? Okay, tomorrow it has to be better. It's got to be better tomorrow. If it's not better tomorrow, then it doesn't work. That crushes people's ambitions and dreams, I think, when it doesn't happen right now.
But sometimes you'll go, like, for me, like, you'll make it up those steps, and you'll get, like, to, like, step 5 out of 10, and you'll be feeling great, and then all of a sudden something will happen that pushes you all the way back down, and then you have to make that progress again, and it's just, it kind of feels never-ending, because, like, my most recent trauma happened in January, where I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and her husband tried to murder us and our children.
Oh, wow.
And I literally saved her life, and she shit on me for it.
What?
Yeah. Like,
You don't do that.
it was horrible. Like, we were engaged.
Wow.
And he came at us with, like, a saw blade and was going to, like, bash her fucking face in. And I threw him on the bed, and I punched him, dislocated my middle finger.
Oh, shit.
Like, there was so much damage in, like, the whole entire house. He threw, like, one of those giant box TVs, like, from the 90s on top of his son, and, like, she had to, like, block it, so, you know, he didn't, like, TV was plugged in and everything, like,
Wow.
we don't know what would have happened, but I know that I put him in jail, and she blamed me for it, spent money that I gave her for bills to bail him out of jail, and then told me I was unreasonable for not forgiving him because he felt bad. And, it's kind of like, you make progress to move past, like, hey, the love of my life just took, like, a massive shit on me, and moving past, like, the trauma that, you know, like, you almost fucking died, you almost watched your children die, your stepchildren die, your fiance die.
Yeah.
Like, you watched all that, like, the look in his eyes as he was doing it. Like, all those are things that will send me back down all that progress that I made.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to get to the point of just being okay and not thinking about it anymore.
That one, that's definitely a heavy one.
It's not easy. I feel like it's getting
not at
easier
all.
lately. Like, obviously I'm talking about it. I'm not crying like I was.
Yeah, I mean, that right there, that's what you're on, like, step 2 or 3.
I feel that way. It honestly feels like a step 7 for me to be in this position.
Nice, dude.
The progress has been astronomical, because before I couldn't think about it without breaking down. Customers at the grocery store would say, "Excuse me," from behind me, and I would break down crying, and I'd have to sit down. Everything would scare me. I'd be afraid that he would come into my store, find me, and try to murder me.
That's a legitimate thing,
It was terrifying,
Yeah.
because I know my fiance, she knew how to get into my department. She knew the store layout, like, she knew everything, and she was mad at me because I wasn't forgiving him, because she wanted to have this beautiful polyamorous relationship that I was involved in when I had no interest in him from the beginning. She even claimed that I was in love with him, and that I seduced him, and then denied him, and that's what made him snap, is because I led him on. When the only interactions I had with this man is sitting next to him on the couch playing video games. Or one time we went out on a friend date, quote unquote, because I never liked him. He's always been abusive towards her. And I mean, like, it does make me a piece of shit that I wanted him out of the picture. But, like,
Does it?
she also wanted him out of the picture. Like, she would tell me all the time that she was done with him, that she was tired of it, that she wanted to move out, and I told her I would get a house for us. All the kids could move in. We could have this, like, beautiful house together, beautiful life together.
Yeah.
She proposed to me at one of my shows. It kind of solidified everything. And, like, my goal was just to be content with all three of us living together. And me making these steps to be his friend and taking him out to, like, go do things like go drinking and, like, learning more about him, so I didn't want to fucking strangle him when he would have episodes, because he's got some, like, bipolar issues. Like,
That's tough.
it was okay at first, though, because, like, his mood swings, they were never super serious when I was living there.
Well, that's good.
The only super serious mood swing that he had was what happened.
Yeah.
So that obviously, and that's when I was living there. He had mood swings where I wasn't living there, where I would have to drive all the way to Taylor from where I was living, where they lived at the time, and I'd have to come rescue her. Like, I've picked her up off the floor, you know, like, she's crying, covered in vomit, trying to drive her car to go find him, like, you know, drunk as shit. Like, I mean, ultimately, it was a really toxic relationship. Actually, this tattoo is, it's a bug zapper, and she has a moth tattooed on her arm, and we got them together. Do you remember when the moth memes were popular?
I feel like...
Brother,
maybe.
Send me the light.
Oh, yeah.
We thought those memes were hilarious, so we got tattoos of them.
That's cute.
But I didn't want a lamp. I wanted a bug zapper because it's, like, kind of gothy and edgy.
Yeah.
Kind of fits my aesthetic. And when we broke up, I didn't want to cover it up because I didn't want to cover up, like, the memory of that, because the time that me and her had spent together was good. I still love her. She's a beautiful person. She was just broken and had her rough spots.
That's what I was gonna say.
But the person she is today and the trauma that she's caused me, I wanted to kill her. So I put a dead moth underneath the bug zapper.
Oh, wow.
So she's dead to me. That's a coping mechanism.
If it felt like the right thing to do and it feels like the right thing to do,
you know,
probably.
I still love her, but she's definitely dead to me, and I will never forgive her for everything that she's put me through.
I don't think...
like, a lot of my shit's still at her house, if she hasn't thrown it away yet. I'm sure she kept a lot of it. Like, I've got, like, stripper shoes over there, a Victoria's Secret bra, my bed. I literally just bought a bed today.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I finally have a place to sleep,
great.
because I refuse to go over there and grab my shit, because fuck her.
Yeah, no, from what it sounds like, I mean, I'm sure there's things that you can justify in your head where you're like, I fucked up here.
I fucked up just getting in that relationship as a whole. There were so many red flags.
I think
red flags.
Through any kind of experience, whatever it is, we'll just categorize that one as just one whole big thing. It's one big chunk of your life. From that whole thing, there's endless lessons that you can just pick out, and you're like, oh, well, I learned this. Write it down. Oh, I learned this.
Not to date crazy women. Especially
write it down.
If they have red hair.
Redheads, thankfully, throughout my life have treated me pretty well.
I have a redhead weakness. If you are chunky, if you are short, and if you have red hair, you are my weakness.
You hear that? I better watch out.
I like them thick girls.
I've got a very, very, very specific preference.
I really do too.
My girlfriend.
You know, that is very specific.
Very specific. Like one
but
in like
out of
7
everything
billion.
I've heard, about her in this conversation. Like, I
She's
feel
a
that.
master farter.
You know, that's soulmate material, honestly. If you can love someone for their farts, you already know that you guys are soulmates.